Here's a segment from a recent Gun Talk radio episode. You can listen to all the Gun Talk radio podcasts however you tune in, or check out guntalk.com for more. Welcome back to Gun Talk. Tom Gresham here. If you want to join us, give me a shout, 866-TALK-GUN or Tom Talk Gun. Of course, we're always looking for those range reports. What have you been buying? What have you been shooting? Have you taken anybody out to the range and introduced them to this wonderful lifetime sport that we enjoy, the shooting sports? Now, you know I've talked about the NRA for some years now, and we have watched the debacle that's going on over there. And unfortunately, one of the things that's happened there is there's been a void left in the election side of things, the campaign side of things. And, you know, as President Obama and others have said, elections have consequences. And it's important that we be involved in that part too, because the reality is, you know, if you got the right people sitting in the right seats, you don't have to work as hard when it comes to legislation. Well, joining me to talk about something that's going on with that, something brand new, Larry Keane. He is the Senior Vice President of Government Relations, Larry, and General Counsel at NSSF. You said, all right, we got something new going on, and I've known about this, and now's the time to let the world know about it, because this is how the world works. I'm just going to turn the floor over to you and talk about what are we going to be doing to try to get the right people elected.
You know, as you know, NSSF has evolved over the last 20-something years, creating a government relations component to what we do, opening a Washington, D.C. office, you know, hiring federal lobbyists, hiring state lobbyists. You know, we've done voter education going all the way back to, you know, registration and education going all the way back to 2000, what we now call Gun Vote. And then about a dozen years ago, we launched a political action committee, which is an important part of the NSSF's government relations program. And now the next part of our evolution is we've launched what is called a super PAC called Protect Liberty Pac. A super PAC is different than a sort of traditional PAC in that it can raise contributions from individuals, so long as they're U.S. citizens or, you know, resident aliens, from corporations, whether they're inside the industry or outside of the industry. And you use those contributions to run what are called independent expenditures, which is a fancy way of saying ads that advocate for the election or the defeat of a candidate running for office. And so we have not done that sort of thing in the past. And so now we're we're growing, and the next iteration is the Super PAC, Protect Liberty Pac, and the website is protectlibertypac.com.
All right, now Larry, let me jump in, because my understanding is the NSSF PAC, while worthwhile and effective, is necessarily, by the way that the federal laws are constructed, limited to who can join and how much can be put in. But with a super PAC, as you say, within very broad guidelines, almost anybody can make a contribution, and the amount they can put in is unlimited. But if what I'm hearing you say is you can't give, or the PAC can't give money to a candidate, it actually operates independently from candidates, right?
Correct. So a super PAC cannot and does not coordinate with campaigns or anything like that. So that's why it's called an independent expenditure. But, we can take contributions from corporations in unlimited amounts, individuals in unlimited amounts, and use those funds for independent expenditures to promote the election of identified candidates. We have launched protectlibertypac.com.
If you would, I know this sounds like the most sophomoric thing in the world, but explain the value of having the right butts in the seats.
If we don't have the pro-Second Amendment, pro-freedom, pro-liberty candidates, we are going to continue to see an erosion of our freedoms and our liberties, particularly under the current administration. And if they were to be reelected, the problems that we are facing in this country, again, not just restrictions on our Second Amendment rights, but on our speech rights, on what we can teach our children, what we can say in the classroom, what we're allowed to think, whether we can stop men from participating in women's sports and this whole
Right.
woke culture we're experiencing in this country.
Yeah, and who's raising our children? Who's educating our children? What they're teaching them? Those kinds of things.
Absolutely. I mean, when you hear the left say that parents don't have a right or a say in their child's education, that is just startling to me. And you and I, Tom, are old enough to remember the days when a statement like that would be laughed at.
You mentioned the First Amendment. NSSF has been involved not just in Second Amendment cases, but this big First Amendment case out of California, where the California said you can't advertise guns in a way that could appeal to minors. Fortunately, we've got a win on that, or at least a stay on that, but we're fighting it. Yes, it's about Second Amendment, but it's broader than that. And I want to give out this website again. I want to make sure people understand it. It's Protect Liberty Pac. It's PAC, protectlibertypac.com. And this is a way, look, if you own a business, your business can make a contribution. If you're individual, especially, and I'm just going to say, if you're a high worth individual and you want to pour some big dollars in, now you have a place to put it that will actually do some good.
Yeah, I appreciate you're talking about this, Tom, because it's really important. The election is, right around the corner. It is very, very close, and so we need to marshal the resources now to have the ability to communicate this important message about, who respects freedom, who respects the Constitution, who respects our way of life, and who doesn't, and who's going to stand up for our freedoms, our liberties, our values, and the American way of life that we've known all these years, because it is really under attack. It just is. And it's frightening to me to see where this country is headed. When you see young people increasingly say that socialism is a better form of government than your representative democracy.
Holy cow.
Holy cow is right. Yeah. Hey, what are they teaching these kids in school?
Exactly. Larry, how quickly can you get this thing up and running? I know you've announced it, and now we need money into it, but how quickly can you actually start doing things with it?
Well, it's up and running right now. If somebody wants to go to the website right now, they can make a contribution. And again, there's no contribution that's too small. Every single dollar matters and will help. And as soon as we can marshal the resources, we will start deploying them. We'll have a focus on the races that matter, that will decide who controls the U.S. Senate, who will control the House of Representatives, and who gets to reside in the White House. A lot of races are not competitive one way or the other.
I was just going to say, I'm going to brag on you because you understand that. You understand where the application of dollars can make a difference. Some places you're not going to win. Some places we are already good. You don't need to spend money there. But there are, whether it's a handful or a double or triple handful of races, you go, we can actually make a difference here. And you've got the experience, and your team understands that and will be using the dollars wisely.
Oh, thank you, Tom. We have a great team. We have people that this is what they have dedicated their professional lives to doing. They understand politics. They understand campaigns and polling. And we know if you do this, it's very obvious what the key races are. Both sides of the fight know it. And there are, a handful of Senate races that will determine, who controls the United States Senate. The same really in the House. There are more races because there are just, more House members, but, a lot of races are not competitive one way or the other. And then there are these races that are, and we want to make sure that we communicate to voters and to freedom-loving Americans. Again, not just gun owners. Certainly gun owners, but the Second Amendment is apolitical.
It's for everybody.
It's colorblind. It's agnostic. It's for everyone. You see liberals, conservatives. You see blacks, white, Asians, Hispanics, everybody.
Yep.
The demographics of who buys a gun is changing to reflect the changing demographics of the country. The Second Amendment is there, Tom, as you know, as your audience knows, to protect against a tyrannical federal government. I just see and feel the erosion of our liberties, the erosion all these principles we were raised on about, freedom of speech, freedom of worship, the right to keep and bear arms, to protect yourself and your family, to hunt, to participate in the shooting sports. And I just see an erosion of our liberties.
Hey, Larry, look, I'm running out of time. I'm going to have to hit my break here. I just want to say this again. It's protectlibertypac.com. And Larry, thank you so much for doing this. I know it's a lot of work to get to this point, and now it's time to fund this machine and put it into work.
It's up and running right now. If anybody wants to go and make a contribution, it would be greatly appreciated. And I can assure you, as Tom knows, it'll be put to good use.
Absolutely. Larry Keane from the National Shooting Sports Foundation and ProtectLibertyPac.com. All right, don't go far. Gun Talk will be right back.